No, I was just going to say, I think we're pretty. It's probably now that you realise once you retired, just it all went quick. The whole career, it was 14, 15 years or however long we were part of that. It seemed like such a long time when you're there, but it's actually such a small part of your life. And to be honest, it's going to be tough watching this next Olympics. I'm going to really find it difficult, I think, sitting there and watching. I know the guys are going to do really well, and I can't wait to see that. And you're going to be over the moon for the boys that are there, but there's something deep down that says, geez, I'd love to be back there doing it again. And
Matthew, you're saying that as a non-playing. Troy and Stephen, you're both still playing in the Brisbane comp here. Is that compensating in any way for the hockey that you're gaining and wanting to get to back again?
I don't think anything would compensate for playing Olympic Games. Playing in Brisbane, it's certainly something that I still enjoy and enjoy contributing back to the local competition a little bit, I guess. So, I still just enjoy, running around with Troy on a weekend and running around with my mates, and I guess more enjoying the sport rather than having to take it so serious. Obviously, there's still that serious side to it, but I certainly enjoy the weekends and I guess enjoy after the match now as much as I enjoy the match. So.
And I think it is fantastic that you two fellas are playing in the club competition here in Brisbane. Your comments on today's game opposed to back when obviously you're at the elite level with the Kookaburras?
It's definitely a quicker game.
Or is that because you're just getting older?
Things do move past you faster than what they used to. But no, I do think it is a faster game. I'd probably say the level of or the quality of the players is improving. I think the level of the actual understanding of the game is slipping away. In a way, I think I don't know. It's just what I've understood from club hockey coming back into it, that there just seemed to be a little bit more of an understanding of the game back early days, and this age, I don't know what it is. Wellesley could probably might be able to back me up there or help me out, but just seems like there's been a change, but it's slowly changing again. We're trying to change that within hockey here. I am within our club, having them understand the game. But I think it just slipped a little away from knowing what it is, how to play it in a way.
Still, I think the standard, I guess, I started playing hockey in Brisbane in 1997 in the local competition. It's very hard to compare the game from then to now because of rule changes and certain other, factors regarding sticks, equipment, all those sorts of things. But I guess overall, I found when I first started playing, there was probably a bit more of an even keel over the competition. At the moment, I probably feel the player pool isn't deep enough to have as many teams as we do. So that's, I guess, one factor contributing maybe to what Troy's talking about, and whether the messages are able to get out enough, all the messages that Matthew's obviously trying to pass on to the guys now, whether they're...
It's probably also that older players don't hang around as much.
Yeah, definitely.
The player, the length of time they play hockey is actually shorter, or I don't know, the sport's become more expensive, or life in general has become more expensive, and people don't tend to, they're not involved in the sport as long, and that generation or gap, the people passing those things down, like I was at hockey from 7 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night, and you just were around hockey people, and people, you just learnt stuff by that. But these days I don't think they have that luxury. You're playing all over the place, and maybe that's something to do with it. The older people aren't passing that stuff down.
There's certainly a number of factors, and like everything there we touched on. I believe there's a big generation factor in it. I'm a big believer in Gen Y. And that Gen Y expect everything to be given to them. They don't know how to work hard for something. But again, there's also a big factor of the older guys hanging around. So when we were coming through, we actually learnt from older guys above us, so that when they left and they retired, we stepped up and took that role on. Then we taught the younger guys underneath, but we've stepped away. That's the sort of the rotation it should be, what it should be like. But unfortunately, it hasn't happened like that. The other big thing is, especially here in Queensland, is there's 10 of our senior guys are all based in Perth. They all live in Perth. We don't see them here in Brisbane or Queensland. We don't see them come back and train back here. They live there, they train at the AIS, and they play out of Perth with the national team. Back 5 years ago, we had 3-4 guys in this program here in Brisbane in the QAS training. That helped generate the intensity and tone in a training session, and that got the quality up and gave the younger guys something to strive for, but it also taught them how to work hard.
Sounds a little bit like it's in our day, I don't want to...
and that's,
in our day it wasn't better, it was just, it was different.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well, Matthew, give us an indication. Your QAS squad's out there training at the moment, and so thank you for the time aside to talk to us. I mean, what sort of hours are these young guys putting in a week to try and play Australian Hockey League National Hockey League for Queensland? I mean, how many sessions are you running a week?
Well, at the moment we're running 3 stick and ball sessions, so we have 2 lots of 2 hours on a Monday, Wednesday. On a Friday we do an individual session, which is a lighter session for the guys. They get to choose sort of skills, technical skills that they need to work on, and they've got to do at least 40 minutes. Then on a Tuesday nights they've got Thursday night they've got a gym program to follow. So it's almost
So
every night of the week.
That's 6 sessions a week. You just mentioned 5 sessions.
Pretty much 5 days of the week. So that's 5 sessions, and then they've got soon after the Premier League here this weekend, we'll start integrating a Saturday morning set play session. So they'll have 6 sessions a week. There's really the 2 main ones are the Monday, Wednesdays, where they've got to work hard. The gym obviously is part of their conditioning. So comparing that to AIS, we're probably maybe 2 sessions underneath, what the AIS would do. Obviously the intensity and the sessions probably wouldn't quite be there. Obviously they're the same standard of players we don't have. But the idea is to prepare these guys so that when they transition into an AIS or a national program, it's a lot easier.
It's not that they don't have the ability to train at that level. You see it, they do train at that level, but it's just the consistency. So when you've got the other senior players around, the difference between the good players and the best players is the consistency. So that's what, probably what these guys lack, is the experience around to have that consistency there at training, and they have to concentrate for 2 hours or an hour and a half versus, at the moment, it's just in spurts, isn't it?
So is there a model that you've got in your mind that can be put into Australian network to retain those senior players in a Queensland program?
Well, it's quite difficult, really. It's all about timing. When's the right time? And again, we're talking about a sport where when guys do get a bit of time off, they've got work. They've got to earn $1. It's not like they're full-time athletes that are paid by hockey, and it gives them time and flexibility to come home and train and be able to put more into their home state. We just don't have that ability to be able to do that, I guess. And they're actually playing more hockey now, so the Aussie guys are away quite a bit. Obviously, Olympic year, you got no hope of getting the guys back involved here. It
used to be like 30 games was a big year for international competition. If you went away and played 30 games in a year, that was a lot. Now, gee whiz, we're out there around about 30, 40, 50 games a year playing internationals.
Stephen, what are the challenges for a goalkeeper? I mean, again, you look out there, you've got backs, forwards, midfielders, they're all hitting, trapping, tackling, slapping, pushing. But in your profession, in the hockey field, it's totally specialist skills. How does a goalkeeper go about organising their training, developing those one-out skills?
Yeah, I think I was pretty fortunate, I guess, in the way that when I was training here, I guess going back to nearly what we were talking about, I did have a lot of senior players still left in Brisbane. So I had the likes of Damien Cedar and Brendan Gerard, Cameron Fraser, a lot of guys that had played international hockey before me, and I had people to look up to that certainly helped me identify ways I need to improve and made flaws in my game stand out because of their standards. So
there wasn't any individual coaching back at the stage when you were coming through. I think you went through the transition between having no individual coaches to having an individual coach over in Perth. Yep. And there was a bit of a transition in hockey in that specialised position as goalkeeper that was lacking. And then, Stephen's come back, and because he had to learn himself, he's now a good coach and in this environment and helping out, that the younger people here do have a better training environment for specialist skills.
Yeah, it's certainly, I guess, I guess I do look back on my time. You would have wished you had that individual goalkeeper. I was very fortunate to have Greg Browning as my coach, because even though he was an Olympian as a field hockey player, I think he was a winger from what I know, but he was pretty great at just identifying any position on the field, good and bad attributes. But I guess now that I come back and I'm doing some work with QAS women and those sort of things, you sort of look back and go, oh, I wish sort of maybe at the time Lindsay Woods or one of the guys from Queensland had been able to help me, but at the time there probably wasn't these programs put in place to help me. So it's not that, I guess, the help wasn't there, it's just the programs that are in place now, certainly, yeah.
QAS provides a lot more funding now to help all that, and which is, it's great for our sport, because that's where the majority of the money comes from, is the QAS and their money and their time and their investment.
One of the things that really sticks out in my mind is, even when I was training here in this environment with Lambie, we were still in the national team, we were going away and playing, but it was the ability to actually coach ourselves. And I was a fullback, he's the goalkeeper. We were put into situations in a training environment here that we were going to face in an international match, and we actually learnt and got a good understanding of each other here. And there were certain things that happened in Olympic Games where I just knew where Lambie was going to be and what he was going to do, and he knew what I was doing and what my role was, so that for instance, he could close a play down on the back line. It's just something that really stuck in my mind.
It's funny that Matthew brings up a play on the back line. As soon as I think about us two at training, like, we'd do so much work on the back line. It's like he's nearly thinking, I guess, the same sort of plays that we used to practice.
I try to talk, with the guys out here, try to explain to them about, it's a communication thing. We spoke to each other. We didn't get it right at the start. It took us a while to get it right and perfect it, and have an understanding. But we spoke to each other a lot about it. And when it didn't go right, how can we fix it? Whereas we sort of you don't see that, you don't have that sort of leadership, I guess, in this young group coming through.
You can't coach experience, can you?
No.
So you try. That's what experienced players do. They give you the information. It's how you absorb it, and if it's given enough times, you'll take some of it in at some stage, and you hope they remember one thing out of everything that you say, and it might make them want to go and do it a bit more.
And Troy, I just heard about a combination developing between two defenders. And what about similar combinations and understandings develop amongst midfielders as you train together and play together a lot?
Yeah, with Matthew, definitely. We had a great group of players that came through in that period of time, and the connection that it gets a bit soppy here, but the connection that we had.
Right, mate.
You didn't even have to, you didn't have to call. I didn't have to make signals or anything like that. It was just a look. You say, give him a nod, or you make contact, and you sort of know where he's going to hit it or where you're going to be. He knew what I was thinking, and that makes the difference in the tight situations. Is if that is working and clicking, then you're one step ahead. You don't have to think about that little connection, but there's just, I don't know how it develops. I think it's just through time
and experience, and then it's putting in the effort. It's the training out the training track, and it's putting the effort in, but it's actually wanting to do it. When I say wanting to do it, it's time. It's a real time thing, and it's again a communication thing that we said, look, we've got to get better at this.
In a warm up, I would grab Wells and say, can you flog the ball at me as hard as you can, because he could hit the ball pretty hard, but I knew if I could trap that ball, I could trap anyone's hit on the field. And Wells would be the same. He'd be like, Woody, can you do some one-on-ones? I want to be able to tackle you.
There's certain players I always remember, linking with Troy, certain games. The World Cup semi-final in 2002 in Kuala Lumpur against the Dutch, and we hadn't beaten the Dutch. We were just starting to get on top of them when we played, but we hadn't actually beaten them and dominated them. And I'll always remember receiving an overhead on the defensive 25, and then needing to get it to Woody. He was on the 45 and he was about 50 yards away. I needed to get it to him, but I had to hit it on the bounce and half volleyed it, and it was about knee height, like a rocket. Thinking, geez, I've stuffed this one up. Just out goes the one hand, traps it on the reverse, dishes off to Jamie Dwyer, who scores.
Went around.
So again, that's another play that sticks in my mind. I don't know why that one, but it was just always that combination of being able to hit to Woody, knowing that he was going to try. Didn't matter how hard you hit it, how high he hit it. You knew he was going to trap it.
I didn't even break stride. I knew that. Wellesley would always hit it out in front. So you're going to be sprinting after it, so you got to trap it, but you didn't have to stop and wait for it. I just remember that one distinctly as well.
So
That was a good one.
Certain things always stick in your mind, which is, I guess you always have a smile and a laugh about. But it's weird to be weird to other people thinking, geez, why that one? But I don't know what it was.